Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we're going to attempt to do vlog 7. Now, vlog 7 is going to expand on both vlog 5 and 6. So in 5, we introduced the idea of how these hyphenated boxes or these polarity moments affect certain individuals more than others. And in 6, what we were showing you is how to use the advanced page to understand where individual users are likely going to feel discomfort, even though it may be different than what we're showing you on the general predictions page. Okay. So we're really trying to help you how to use this technology in a proactive sense. You see, it's not so advantageous. Like we encourage you in the beginning to really document when you hurt or when things are not feeling the way that you would like them to. But the truth is, what we want to do is we want to empower you to how to use this advanced page because it really tells you where you need to really put your time and energy in. Our design, okay? In our design, we're all designed with more weaknesses than strengths. That's what creates this negative feedback loop. That's how we learn. We learn by making all these mistakes. Now, understanding how this works allows us to invest in expanding our routines and expanding our awareness so that we don't have to suffer. Now, in the beginning, people are going to have to verify this is how it works. That's why we want you to keep data. But eventually, we want you to be able to look forward into the future and use this advanced page to know exactly where you'd want to focus. So this is my user information that's up here right now. Okay, we're going to come back to the home page. You can see this is my user information. Then this is set to Monday. This is July 8th, 2024 at 2:58 a.m. Okay, so this isn't the time I'm doing this video, but I'm using this as an example. Now, during this time, you can see, and we want to review this quickly. So the mental frequency is very strong. This is a year frequency. This is a 7.5 day frequency. The macro emotional, so the top emotional frequency, 6.5 day frequency. Now, these bottom three are much smaller. The largest one of the bottom three is the capital P. That's a 12-hour frequency. The small e, the micro emotional frequency, that's 3.5 hours. And this small p is a 15-minute frequency. That just means every 15 minutes, this thing is going to flip polarity, and then polarity moments are going to hold for about 3 minutes. In the 12-hour section, polarity moments aren't going to hold that long either, maybe at half an hour to 45 minutes. And in this E frequency, about 15 to 20 minutes. So those are going to be small agitations. It's the larger ones that we worry about when we're talking about polarity moments, okay? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you why things would be relatively calm and then all of a sudden, things are going to heat up once these larger ones go into a polarity moment or a polarity flip. So to do this, we're just going to fast forward time here just a little bit. So we're at 2:58 a.m. and I'm going to use the micro E. That's this one right here. Remember, this is going to move at about 3.5 hours. We're going to press this one time. Now, once I did that, I want you to see what just happened there. I specifically came to this spot so you could see what was going to go on here is now we have a polarity moment at this capital E frequency. And this one's going to last a long time. Now, we're going to have to get into explaining why this one lasts longer than this side. It just has to do with how time is organized versus how space is organized. But what you really have to understand now is starting, okay, Monday, and this is Eastern time zone. So Monday, July 8th at 6:18 a.m. in the Eastern time zone, all people during that time, and this is all over, the time zones are just going to be different depending on where you live. This E is going to flip and it's going to stay polarized until we get to the end of this entire emotional sequence, which is still like a 2.5 day stretch. Okay. So this is when we're making predictions about when, for example, gun violence is going to go up. Now, we talked about this in vlog 5. Why would certain people be more agitated by this than other people? Let's go to the advanced and remember where we're at here. So this is my user data, and we're going to look on the advanced at the emotional macro E or capital E. Let's go there. Here it is. So when this polarity moment fires and it's firing on the time side right here, it is much more likely that I am going to be challenged during this one because it's on a side where I have kind of a weakness here. Okay. So this is in time. 12 hours would be the farthest I could be away, and 0 would be the closest I could be. 0 would be my strength, 12 would be my absolute weakness. I'm at 8 hours and 39 minutes. That's kind of a big weakness. So I would want to know this because when this polarity moment fires and affects me, it's definitely going to cause me to have to pay a little bit more attention. and definitely slow my roll because my defenses are going to be much more agitated. Not only is this polarity moment going to agitate me, but just the distance I'm away from the governing frequency and my uncomfortability with it is going to amplify it as well. That's why this is so important. So, when we're looking at, when these polarity moments happen and we're saying, hey, you got to be cautious, violent acts, like this is when gun violence is going to happen. You are going to see the individuals that are committing these heinous things that are happening and causing all of this chaos or these unpleasant experiences that really disrupt our society. They're also going to be agitated like this. Now, the more of these agitation points that we have, you see these polarity boxes here, the hyphenated boxes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going right now. Now, remember, actually 6. We got one on this side too. This is just going to amp it up and make it even more likely. Now, at the end of the day, you could add up all of these ones on the bottom here, and they're not as strong as this. So if there's a polarity box by the E's, there's a polarity box by the M's or these capital M's. That is big time. You better pay attention. There could just be just this E. And if you have just this E and you have an individual that is in a weak zone at that time, it is highly likely that they're going to do something defensive that they're not going to, feel so good about when this is done, when they're better in their strength zone. Now, I'm trying to help you with this because this is important to understand. When you come into the tool and you pick your user, I'm going to change users here for a second so you can see. Let's go to a Capricorn. All right. And we'll give it just a second to populate here. Oh, there it goes right there. All right. So now let's come back to the advanced page. Understand, this individual has many more weaknesses going on right now than the one that I just showed you with my stuff. Okay. And these polarity moments, in addition, this is going to start to agitate that. Now, look what we have going down here. We've got them here, 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 here. Come back to the advanced. Weak zone, semi-weak zone, weak zone, weak zone, and then semi-weak zones down here. So the more red that you see, if you're looking at your family members, the more you have to realize it's very probable that this family member or this person in your life is going to be struggling during these times. That's why it's so important to do this. So as parents, when you're looking at your kids, and we can change out and try another one here. Now, we're going to go to Gemini and let's go to the advanced, and you can see not so much here, right? So depending on when you're born in the year is really going to depend on who we have to worry about being agitated. Now, could this person get agitated on those polarity moments? All of us can. Is it more likely that this person is versus the Capricorn we just showed you? Absolutely not. The Capricorn is going to have much, much more trouble than this Gemini person's going to have. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that. All right. So that was a good review on what's happening here. Now, when we are making our predictions and we're saying, hey, it's very likely that there's going to be gun violence, that's only going to be said when one of these E's are lit up, one of these M's are lit up, or one of these M's are lit up. That is when it's most likely. And then it's then additionally more likely the more of these that we have coming up. Now, I'm using gun violence as an example, but this is how it's going to work in individual households as well. So if you're going through your users, let's try another one here. And let's go all the way down to the bottom to a Sagittarius here. Okay. Give this a second to reorganize itself. There we go. And let's go to the advanced page here. So again, this user has got some weaknesses and it's got a direct weakness right here. It's not super strong, but it's at halfway away. 12 hours is the farthest. So just over halfway away as far as a weakness would go. So it's likely that this user is going to be affected by this polarity moment more than, say, a user that's in their green zone at that time. Let's go find one that has a green zone. So let's go to a Cancer. And we're going to let this populate, move itself here. There we go. Let's come back to the advanced page. Perfect example. Okay. So very, very green, very, very strong. Now, does this mean that this person couldn't have a meltdown during that polarity moment? Absolutely could. Is it as likely? Absolutely not. This is how, when you have multiple users in your tool, how you can start to look at when these polarity moments are going to fire. Now, when you're fast forwarding up here, this is easy to know when these polarity moments are going to happen. You can fast forward with 12 hours at a time, and you can see how these are going to flip out. So as you move every 12 hours, obviously you're going to have a polarity moment always happening at the P frequency because we're starting a new P frequency, which means it just flipped. But what this allows you to do is you can fast forward 12 hours at a time and you can see, for example, when this E frequency is going to go away. And I'm just going to keep fast forwarding here. I'm just moving 12 hours at a time. Okay. We're going to keep watching this thing, and they're just flipped right there. Now, so on Wednesday, July 10th, 2024, we're going to have a dual E polarity moment. This is twice. Now you've got two very strong ones. You're happening in first person and third person. And then we'd come back to this advanced page and we'd go, okay, so this individual, we don't have to worry so much about green and yellow. Let's come back to this. Now we're going to switch out the user again. We're going to come back to, let's go back to an Aquarius. Okay. And we're going to come to the advanced page. And we're going to see that an Aquarius is going to have a lot of trouble. So if someone in your family is born in the time zone or the time frame of what Aquarius is, highly likely that these dual points are going to agitate that person. You would want to know that. You'd want to know to help to keep them calm, but also to not get frustrated with them if they're struggling. So what we're really doing is we're using this tool to understand what members of our team are going to have weaknesses, which members of our team are going to have strengths, and how we're going to work together to make sure that we minimize as much conflict as we can within the structure of our homes or within our general sphere of people. That's how important it is to understand this. Now, when people get this, let's bring my user information back up here for a second. This is exactly what I do. Now I'm going to bring it to real time. So we're actually on Sunday, July 7th, 2024. It's 1:36 p.m. And you can see we're free and clear here. There's nothing going on. Now, this is what I would do to know what's going to happen here in the next couple days. As we're planning on having some family interactions, I'm working with my friend that helps me out with Health Reconnected here. And I'm going to fast forward and I'm going to show you. So we're all here clear. Now, Monday, we're still in the clear. And we just had a polarity flip on the E. Now, when did this happen? Because it probably, I moved 12 hours at a time. So we want to know when this is going to happen. So we're going to back this back up. And now I'm going to move it 3.5 hours at a time. Okay, boom, there it is. 6 a.m. Monday morning, July 8th. That's when this one's starting. That's how easy it is to use this technology to know when something big is coming. Again, I'm going to say this one last time, and then this is going to be enough for Vlog 7. We're really trying to focus in on what's going to irritate or agitate certain individuals and why we would want to know this in our general sphere of people, because we can then help them and we can also make sure that we're not making it tougher on people that already have a big challenge. Okay. So look at what's happening here. These are the three upper ones. This one's going to fire. And this is what we were just talking about. This thing's going to fire for the rest of this sequence. So definitely super important to know when these turn on. All right. That's enough for this vlog. We'll see you at vlog 8.